Fill me with pleasure, Teen Titans Go!
How can you excuse this frame in any cartoon? Children's cartoon or not, how can you excuse this kind of look? This kind of riz. Elmer Chud.
Boys, all I really want is boys. I want them to treat me like a toy.
This guy, Ben the Looney, is someone that me and my friends used to make fun of, just like in group chats and stuff, because we thought it was so funny. Oh, is this channel not up anymore? Is this his new channel? Puffy Zilla Man? Yeah, we used to just make fun of him because we thought he was really funny. Ben rants, push back against LGBTQ+ rights. And there was this fake meme going around for a while that was like, Ben rants, black people, which was pretty crazy, but it wasn't an actual post from him. But he was also a Shadman fan, so people had a problem with that, obviously. I think that makes sense. But yeah, I want to watch this video from Jormy. One of the best chatters, okay? One of the best chatters making some of the best content from chat, in my opinion. Major shout out to Jormy. Major shout out. Sub to him if you're not already.
The more artistic side of YouTube is an exceedingly diverse place when it comes to the different types of content present within it. If you're looking to become a content creator as someone who is artistically inclined, you have nearly endless directions in which you—
Why? Why am I here? Why am I the other path? Why did I have to be here? Why?
You can go. You could become an animator and tell stories through characters or stylized avatars. You could join the art commentary community, editing voiceovers over your art and giving input
Don't do
on
that.
the state of society.
Don't join the art commentary community. If there's any community you're gonna join, just don't make it that one. Be a VTuber before you're an art commentator, please. Please.
You could post tutorials and spread your artistic knowledge to the world. You could even make rant videos about how attractive you find kids show characters, platform degenerates who draw NSFW
Yeah, great
art
idea.
based on real children, and overall cement yourself as one of YouTube's most infamous and prolific gooners. You could do that. You probably shouldn't. But that brings us to our topic of discussion here today. The man of the hour, the one, the only, Ben the Looney.
Hey folks, welcome to a new segment I like to call Artist Spotlight, where I take time to talk about the best artists the internet has to offer. And oh boy, might as well get the controversial one out of the way here. In an era where freedom of speech is taken for granted and everyone is offended by everything, one internet artist looks at that and says, hey, can't we all just jerk off?
That freedom of speech moment when you draw underage child actors being by their co-stars and you get cease and desisted and have to take down your website. Major freedom of speech moment for Shadman. That was a major freedom of speech moment right there, bro. Can't we all just jerk off? Can't we all just jerk off, guys?
What?
Ben Louie's a pedophile on Twitter who draws underage characters.
Oh no!
I mean, it's not as bad as Lollipop, but now Ben wants to defend that, so here I am to basically explain why Ben's full of shit and a complete f***ing idiot.
Well, I might lose a lot of subs and friends for what I'm about to say.
Martyr.
I ain't in this for the
Free
popularity.
speech moment.
I don't see a problem with Lolicon.
Ooh. Why that drawing? Adolf Hitler artist spotlight? That's not real. He didn't do that. If he did do that, that's hilarious. Artist spotlight, Ben the Looney. Did he make that? This is a real video?
To you, I'm gonna bring back my critically acclaimed Artist Spotlight
Why did you have to use that
series.
as your avatar?
And today,
Comments are turned off. Why does it have to be your avatar, Ben?
we have a very obscure artist all the way from Austria in the early 1900s whose art has been lost to time. Let me present to you the wonderful artwork of Adolf Hitler. Like all good artists, Hitler started out from humble beginnings, copying the popular style at the time, but eventually branched out and found his groove.
Bro.
Mostly drawing landscapes and castles that looked beautiful. Holy free holy. Throw some naked girls in these pieces and you have one fine artist.
I think we've probably seen as much as we need to see from that video, but yeah. This guy's pretty special. You can see why. I think I did watch that video at some point, but I forgot it existed. This guy used to be one of the most legendary personal lolcows that me and my friends had. We would just laugh at him alone on Discord. We thought it was so funny. McDonald's customers.
Hey folks, Ben the Looney here. So in my last video, I said that I'd talk about my work experience at McDonald's soon. Well, it's soon. I'll start off by saying,
Bro, this guy was ahead of the curve. He was doing Odd Ones Out videos in 2016 before it was cool. He pioneered the storytime animation community. He pioneered it. Holy free holy. This guy's so autistic. He is.
People feel overly compelled to try to defend these disgusting perverts who draw CP. Let's all call it what it really is.
and not since Jenny Wakeman have I wanted to bone a robot so badly. Did Degenerate make this show?
YouTube's most controversial cartoonist.
Ben the Looney is a man of many talents. Although his internet career began with crudely cobbled together rant videos in which he very passionately screams about children's cartoons.
Fill me with pleasure, Teen Titans Go!
Fill me with pleasure.
He has also expanded
That was
into
a fire
creating his
clip.
own art and animations, some of which actually depict people who are not children, making storytime videos, some of which actually have accrued a pretty decent amount of views.
Bro, see what I was saying? He was ahead of the curve. He was the original Odd Ones Out. The Odd Ones Out ripped off his entire thing. Beat for beat, bar for bar.
And even rapping. I honestly don't have anything I could say here that would be better than just playing you an excerpt from one of his songs.
Boys, all I really want is boys. I want them to treat me like a toy. When I'm around them, I feel
Whoa! Why am I there?
like the one.
Why'd you have to put me there, bro? Why? Jormy, I know you're watching this. Why did I have to be in this? I shouldn't be associated with this degenerate shit. Jormy, come on. Don't do me like that. This was a nice picture taken inside of a fucking 7-Eleven in New York City, okay? When I was hanging out with my family. And not only was it turned into a Wojak, but it was put in this fucked up video. With this! Why?
I especially like the ones who eat their soy.
Okay.
I know a few of the Draw My 49ers out.
Do eat their soy? I guess that is me at this point, dude. Bro, I went to Destiny's apartment, okay? I went to his apartment, and unironically, the bro had Soylent in his fucking fridge. Like, this is a real thing. His fridge had no food. His apartment had no food. He had like 15 bottles of Soylent in the fridge and like 15 cans of Red Bull, and that was it. That was literally it. Why? He doesn't even eat. He just drinks soy.
Out there can relate. But why exactly are
He
we
was trying to trigger you. Well, he succeeded.
talking about this clearly generational talent here today? Well,
Also, yeah, I broke the smoking streak. After like 6 weeks of not smoking, I broke it, bro. It's over.
recently,
We
clips
lost.
of Ben's old videos have been going somewhat viral on Twitter, with some tweets about him having obtained millions.
I was like, I was celebrating the merch stuff. I was like, oh, I'll just have one. I won't even like it. It won't be a big deal. I was celebrating the merch selling out so quick. I was like, oh, you know, I'm with SB. We're in Miami. We'll walk around. We'll have a good time. And then I hit the first one. I was like, I won't like it. And then I had it and I was like, wait, I love it. And then I basically ripped through the whole pack in like one night. So yeah, not my proudest moment. Haven't bought any since, but
Of views.
I effed up.
Some of these tweets have even accused Ben of various things, ranging from racism to being quote-unquote
Was that a Smaggle Daggle tweet in there? There's so much lore behind this guy. Did you know there's lost videos where he rants about hating black people? No way.
racism to being
Those are not
quote-unquote
real.
Epstein too.
I mean, damn. How the hell did her character design get approved for a kid's show? Sure, the face is geometrical, and to be honest, not very appealing to the penile zone, but that body, oh,
Okay, I get it now.
Bro, she looks like 9 years old.
Judging from the replies,
What the
it seems as though a massive amount of people on the internet either know who Ben is or have at least seen excerpts from his videos in the past. So imagine my shock when I did some
Well, imagine my shock.
research and found that Ben's YouTube channel only has about 23,000 subscribers.
Yeah, he never really grew very much, but he was pretty infamous among like animators back in the day. Like back when I was making like rant videos about like cartoon stuff. This is old Turkey Tom lore, bro. This is old Turkey Tom lore. If you go on the channel, you sort by oldest. This kind of shit, bro. This is when
I
I
don't
was.
think anyone who made a video
Whoa.
about you didn't at least see it, then I don't see why you would say this. On the same note, and
I think we've probably seen enough, but yeah, when I was in this era, when this was the era I was in, that's the shit I was making, bro. And that's when I was on Ben the Looney. That's when he was my greatest lolcow.
Now, obviously, that's
Were you 12? I think I was 14 or 15.
to scoff at, but it still seems notable that the visibility of Ben's content has extended so far beyond the reach of his channel's size. But actually, this isn't anything new. In fact, the Ben the Looney brand has for many years been plagued by controversies which often eclipsed Ben's subscriber count by orders of magnitude. Over the years, Ben has been accused of racism by the creator of a viral indie game, been sucked into the cancellation of the Degenerate artist Shadman,
Somebody
and
Turkey
has
Tom
even
mentions.
indirectly caused one of the most mainstream YouTube dramas of the last 2 years, the cancellation of Creepshow art. The amount of ire that Ben's content has managed to draw to him him.
And Creepshow Art's one of those channels that's just never going to come back, right? I can't imagine her ever returning to YouTube. I'm pretty sure Illuminati's going to return to YouTube, and I'll make a video about that eventually because I've been following her lawsuit stuff. So I'm pretty sure she's going to return to YouTube, and she might even win some of her lawsuits. She might even win. But Creepshow Art's just one of those channels I don't think is ever coming back to YouTube, bro. Not that it's undeserved. Not that it's undeserved. She was pretty crazy, but yeah. Should I start taking Adderall? No, you should not. I would not recommend that.
Over the years, along
any updates on Mama Max? Nope, haven't heard anything from him.
With his relatively small sub count and his absolute refusal to be deterred from content creation for years are absolutely mind-boggling. Ben's story is one of insurmountable backlash, degenerate takes, extremely clippable moments, and an unprecedented amount of gooning, as well as, unfortunately, the mental health struggles that come with being consistently lambasted year after year by thousands upon thousands of people. So today, I'm going to be telling you all about Ben's extremely volatile internet career, as well as the controversies he's participated in and ultimately—
Did he have anything to do with a Sniper Wolf? I don't remember that. Man, I watched this video at the gym a few weeks ago, and I feel like I don't remember half of it already. I was like... I was doing dumbbell press. I was like doing this while in my ear I'm hearing like, at that point, Ben the Looney ended up defending Shadman. And I was like, what the fuck? Definitely not the best energy for the gym, but you know what? It was an enjoyable video.
Ultimately, how not a single one of them has managed to get him fully canceled. Whether it be because—
Well, I mean, he definitely has been fully canceled, quote unquote. He just never quit. Bro, watch his videos in the gym. Yeah, lately, instead of listening to music, I've just been watching videos in the gym when I want to catch up on stuff. If I wake up and there's like a creator I like that posted a good video, I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna watch this. I lift to women crying ASMR based.
His opposition slipped up and proved that their records weren't exactly as squeaky clean as they let on, because there was a greater evil lurking behind the scenes that drew attention away from him, or simply because his audience never cared about his shortcomings in the first place.
I mean, yes, but he doesn't have like much of an audience in the first place. First of all, like, not a very big channel, right? I mean, his latest video didn't even crack 1,000 views a month ago. So it's not like he has a big channel. But also, he never posited himself as like a good moral dude, you know? He was always just kind of positing himself as being a freak. I mean, you see these thumbnails and it's like, is this whoa, what the f is that? You see these thumbnails and you're like, is this nobody's coming to this channel, then becoming a fan and then being like, whoa, he's a freak, you know?
Howdy, y'all.
What are the comment section like? Ben the Goonie. Surprised he didn't talk about the monster. You know, he doesn't have a real audience here, it seems like. It's mostly people just hate watching him. I think he just never gave up is how he hasn't been canceled, right? He never really apologized or like backed down. I think he did back down on some of the stuff, but he never came out and did like a cringe apology video, so that's part of why he's just been fine, quote unquote. He never had much of an audience in the first place, right?
Whatever the case, it should be fun. So let's get right into the full story of Ben the Looney. According to a few of his videos in which he describes his early life, Ben grew up in Illinois as an only child in a small neighborhood, which was home to only a few kids his age. Because of this, he spent an inordinate amount of time inside watching cartoons, as well as making up stories starring his own original characters, both of which helped birth his desire to entertain people through storytelling. Ben's dream was always to be able to create his own cartoons. In high school, he was unable to accomplish—
Yeah, I'm noticing a lot of Jormy's music library overlaps. It's good stuff.
But decided—
I feel like it's your favorite YouTuber, Tom. I mean, as far as like, I just bit my lip and then spit the fucking lip particle on the microphone. That's fire. But yeah, not gonna worry about that. I mean, as far as like smaller video essay content creators, I feel like he's one of the better up and coming guys. Yeah, I like him.
The next best thing would be to upload videos of himself discussing other people's cartoons. And thus, the Ben Rants series was born, and he actually began to accrue somewhat of an audience. I should note here that the Ben who is starring in these videos is not Ben himself, but a character he created known as Ben T. Looney.
Just a character.
This is most commonly done so that creators can fall back on the idea that all of their statements were made by their—
all that up shit I said, all the bad Turkey Tom moments, that was me playing a character. But in the moments where I was based and cool, that was me being the real Tom. Any haircut advice? Tell him to your shit up.
Characters and not them personally, just in case anything they say happens to make people upset.
Are you planning to make a vid on this guy? Maybe. I feel like Jormy covered most of the stuff I would want to cover, but maybe.
This didn't really do anything to help Ben though. He first began uploading on a YouTube channel called Puffy Zilla Man 4, named for the animated series Hi Hi Puffy Amy Yumi and
it's Puffy Amy Yumi.
Zilla, two of Ben's interests. And as you can see from its video catalog, the vast majority of uploads were either part of the Ben Ben Rants or Ben Salutes series, with Ben Salutes being the positive counterpart to the often overly negative Ben Rants. People appreciated Ben's lack of a filter and complete fearlessness in his self-expression. And while this certainly helped attract people to his channel, as we've seen in the past, this isn't always a good thing. Case in point, after just a few years of uploading, Ben would create one of his first truly infamous pieces of content, Ben Rants, The Looney Tunes Show. The video attained an astounding 288,000 views, which is far
that was a good
higher
show.
than the view count.
I remember liking that. They had like, they did a lot of weird stuff in that show. They had like World War II bits in there where I think one of the characters was like a Nazi. The Looney Tunes Show World War II. It was about like art theft was like the plot. Nah, it wasn't that. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Like the Looney Tunes Show World War II. One of the weirdest things from this show was, you remember the grilled cheese bit? This was like totally unhinged for a kid's cartoon. Yeah, the Looney Tunes Show grilled cheese. This was crazy. I can't believe they did this. I remember watching this on TV and being like, what is this? Not that I disagree with him. I mean, you know, grilled cheese is pretty special. This shot, you'll know when you see it.
'Cause the butter and the cheese are gonna...
Look at that frame. How can you excuse that frame? Smaggle's a pretty good singer. How can you excuse this frame in any cartoon? Children's cartoon or not, how can you excuse this kind of look? This kind of riz. Elmer Chud. Now that you put it that way. That was pretty crazy.
Counts attained by any of his other Ben Rants videos even to this very day, due in large part to the negative attention which it drew to the channel. The reason this video was so hated was because, in the eyes of many,
he's gonna
Ben
freak the
didn't
sandwich.
give the Looney Tunes Show a fair chance.
I mean, I assume he's not gonna just hang out and eat it. I assume something else is gonna happen to the sandwich, you know? I'm fully erect, he says at the grilled cheese. Well, nickled, pickled, you know, it happens to us sometimes.
Rather, his takes just served to show that he was simply unable to handle any kind of change, with most of his criticisms being that the show was different from the classic Looney Tunes cartoons. He also, at a certain point, completely lost it and started screaming into the mic.
So, this is the first episode of the Looney Tunes Show, and it was freaking terrible! Oh my freaking gosh!
Whoa.
This, along...
Dude, this reminds me of like the Teen Titans Go rants back in the day. People were so mad at that show. Granted, it was a pretty bad show compared to the original. The ultimate Teen Titans Go rant. I feel like there were like a lot back in the day of just like autists ranting about it. Based? No, that video was not based.
Yes, I may
self-sorted out.
They are sometimes goofy and comedic. Raven, however, shows a little bit of her character development, like casting magic spells, teleporting, and fighting for the Titans.
What is this?
Starfire. She can be...
Is this like ironic? What am I looking at?
A sarcastic, deadpan demon girl who'd rather be left alone. She's into...
The ultimate Teen Titans Go rant.
Instead, I think we need to stop and focus on the reaction to Teen Titans Go and not the show itself. It's no surprise that people dislike the show. I've made more than a few videos talking about how bad it is, but that gets pretty repetitive when I'm saying the same thing over and over. Teen Titans Go is bad because it's cheap, just random unfunny jokes, and it's targeted towards mindless kids. I've repeated myself throughout various videos, and while these reasons are still my opinion when talking about the show, I think it would be best if we stop overreacting.
Like this basically became this was like the SpongeBob of Cartoon Network, because it's all they would play back in the day for hours and hours. I remember like, because I was like kind of an animator spurg back in the day, I remember watching my little brother watch this shit, who was like 9 years old at the time, and I remember being like, turn the shit off, this is bad, watch the original Teen Titans. And the original Teen Titans was good. The original Teen Titans was genuinely a very good show. I remember Slade scared the fuck out of me. Like, he was very scary. His voice was really creepy.
Knock you up at night. The evil that haunts every dark corner of your mind. I will never rest, and neither will you.
My friends say you're not real.
I'm very real.
Like, that voice just scared the shit out of me. Yeah, this guy freaked me out. Another thing that freaked me out, I've talked about this before, was in Batman Beyond, there was like this billionaire who like put himself in a computer. You guys remember what I'm talking about? He like transfers his consciousness. Yeah, this is it. When the plot is basically there's like this billionaire who dies, and before he dies, he transfers his consciousness or his brain or something into a computer and like a little disc, and then his grandson inherits the company and doesn't know how to run it, so he tries to consult him. And then the entire episode is about the billionaire trying to transfer his consciousness into his grandson's body so he can keep living. Yeah, you can see it right there. This scared the shit out of me. He commandeers the Batsuit.
night.
Super scary, bro. Super scary. Batman Beyond in general was just really good. The intro was really good in this show. Yeah, this. It had a very cool, it had like an industrial metal like intro song. I think I used to use the music in this in videos like a long time ago. Like this is, yeah, the part with a skull at the end. This was scary as hell. It was so cool. I felt so badass watching this. I remember they played this on Cartoon Network a little bit, I think, maybe on Boomerang, but there was this channel I used to get called The Hub. I don't even know if it's around anymore, but they would play a lot of like old Warner Brothers stuff. I guess it's not around anymore. Yeah, this, bro.
Really? Come on! It's
Full episodes with commercials. Oh, yeah, they played My Little Pony. Cringe. Yeah, they played this Transformers show that was good. I don't know why even, is this like a Canadian channel or something? I feel like it didn't feel exactly right for whatever TV I had, because I was not in Canada. But yeah, this show had some serious fire back in the day. Okay, I guess it's defunct now, but I think it's Canadian. I don't know why I was even getting it then, but I remember I had it. I think I want to say it was like, because channel like 60 or something was like Spike, and then 61 was Comedy Central, and 62 was FX. I want to say it was like channel 63 on my TV or something. But yeah, I was watching a lot of TV at that time.
Alongside the fact that he described viewing as though he had been quote-unquote physically raped by the show, caused people to hate watch the video with the express purpose of laughing at Ben's absolute meltdown. Other things about Ben's channel which drew the attention of hate watchers was his tendency to self-censor by using made-up cuss words like bull split and truck, as well as his habit of captioning his videos with Eva Zfon level statements like, seriously, to any girl out there, please love me. Ultimately, this would be the last video ever posted to the Puffy Zillaman 4 account, with Ben taking a hiatus from the Ben Rant series and eventually being unable to log back into the account, apparently due to the permanent death of his old computer. This leads us to the creation of the Ben the Looney channel, which he is active on to this very day, although its name has since been changed to just Puffy Zillaman. Over the course of his activity on the Ben the Looney channel, Ben would continually switch his stance on the Ben Rant series, first expressing a desire to kill the Ben T. Looney character and move on to making more positive videos.
Every single image has to be from Soy Jack Party.
But then quickly caving to requests to bring the series back, or finding more interesting topics that he couldn't resist ranting about. A great example of this is when he literally animated the character rising from the grave after taking a break from the series, which is honestly the best demonstration I could think of to show his tendency to go back on his word. One of the main reasons for Ben moving away from making rant videos was that in 2013, he announced he was currently pursuing his dreams of becoming an animator by attending college in order to improve his skills, and as such, he had less time to record videos. Furthermore, he wanted to begin focusing more on posting his own art and animations. For example, he created the Daisy and Dexter mysteries and All Right cartoons, which were two recurring series on his channel for a period of time. He also made forays into different fields, such as storytime animations, review-style videos, his artist
He was diversifying his
series,
content.
and even YouTube poops. But unfortunately for Ben, nothing ever quite stuck like Ben Rants.
I didn't know that. I kind of want to see his old YouTube poops now. Ben the Looney YTP. Did other people make YTPs of him? The Ben the Looney collab re-upload. All right, I'll get into it. Why is it 24 minutes long?
Yes! I'm constantly suffering.
Are you sure? That's simple. I can make that. Are you sure?
All right, we might be getting in too deep here. YTP, Ben the Looney rants on a stack of wood.
Welcome back to Ben Rants.
Seizure warning, jeez.
Ben rants.
And when I was a kid, I went to SpongeBob.
Stop right there!
I want to be a voodoo doll. Why do I have to live in a mom? Produces.
Everybody talks about how bad brain rot content is now. It's like, oh, how can kids watch this? Bro, this is 10 times more insane than Skibbity Toilet, okay? This is what we were watching 10 years ago. This is 10 times more insane. They said your BBL Tommy in my hood. True. Ben the Looney YTP collab 2023 remastered.
And get the heck out. Most of my videos are me fucking kids. Well, somebody's gotta do it. Oh crap, I wasn't supposed to say that.
Wow.
She turns the corner and sees Twilight being harassed by Ben T. Looney.
Wow. Think about this. Past 9 years, in December 2013, he quit rants, salutes, and review videos by Ben the Looney. But unfortunately, Cartoon Lover 98 has terminated the account forever. With is decided to remaster the cause of archiving as many added clips as possible. 0 comments. I'll leave a comment saying, lol. We're weighing in.
Beyond continually switching his stance on his most popular series, Ben also underwent a variety of other changes throughout his online career. For example, he actually underwent quite a journey in terms of personal
I didn't watch any of that? Well, you were missing out.
At the beginning of his online activities, many would have classified Ben as an anti-SJW due to his ardent stances on censorship and the quote-unquote ultra-PC society of today. However, over the years, Ben would become increasingly more and more progressive, noting that he became a feminist because of Captain Marvel and the rest was history. Next thing you know, he was posting art on Twitter of his quote-unquote half Dominican, half Haitian gay merboy character.
Okay. Meet AJ, my half Dominican, half Haitian gay merboy. Hashtag mermay. Surely he's memeing? No, Ben the Looney is not memeing. In this particular case, he's not memeing, and this is his actual gay mermoy boyfriend.
And speaking out against things like the Alabama...
Why he have gyno? Yeah, it was weird. He would always draw men with like giant nipples and like floppy tits. I don't really know. Art style problems, I guess. I don't know, bro.
Abortion ban. He also posted Black History Month NSFW one year, which truly, the world is healing. He also went through a weird phase at one point where he started to illustrate his avatar nude in every video.
Yeah, I don't know what that era was about.
The family-friendly
his dick is practically in it.
The aspects of his channel, but he would eventually thankfully revert to having his avatar wear clothes. I don't really know what that
was the drawing like 10 times better in that one thing. Did he hire an artist?
Era was about, but I will say
Black Lives Matter diaper for art, dude. That was so cool.
My favorite Ben the Looney video definitely came from this time period. What a daring video topic. Regardless, that basically leaves us in the present day in terms of Ben's development over the years as a content creator. Now, while I've been giving this admittedly brief summary of Ben's online career, you might have noticed that I've skipped over the supposed myriad controversies that I claimed he's been subjected to over the years. And that's because, well, honestly, I don't even know where to start. Ben's online behavior is so contentious in this current age that, as we've already seen, just posting a clip from one of his old videos is enough to get thousands upon thousands.
He commissioned Nude Art of Isona. I mean, that's not really surprising. This guy has a 9-part series where he talks about different characters he jacks off to. This man is hilarious.
Disgusted reactions
Definitely
on Twitter.
Hilarious.
And that's just the tip.
He's a relic of a forgotten era. I feel like we don't see Ben the Loonies these days, like pure autism on YouTube. You don't really see that now. Probably for the best, but, you know, some of the content is fire, undoubtedly.
The iceberg. Not only has Ben actually had videos so controversial he's seen fit to remove them from the face of the internet, he's also exhibited behavior on various other sites that have only served to solidify his degeneracy in the eyes of many. But perhaps we should start at the beginning, the quintessential Ben the Looney video. The iconic, the notorious, Ben's top 10 hottest animated women.
This video is so funny.
To many, this was the first time Ben expressed opinions that were truly deplorable.
I remember this video.
And, well, instead of talking at length about it, why don't I just show you a few of
I think his like top pick was like My Life as a Teenage Robot, Jenny or whatever. I think that was his top pick.
Ben's top 10. Jenny Robot from My Neighbor Was a Teenage Robot. Okay, she's based on a 16-year-old girl, but she's technically not a child.
That was his number 10
she's
pick.
A robot, not human. Stacy from Phineas and Ferb. Well, she's human.
Why?
She's 15 as well, so...
Why?
Misty from Pokemon.
She's like 11.
She's 10 years old. I can't... Well, what do you guys want me to say?
I heard you's a pedophile, nigga. I heard you like little boys and girls, nigga.
No, it's worth stating that this video was posted extremely early into Ben's online career, and if we take his word for it, he would have been in high school around this time. Regardless, this didn't exactly help to quell the
yeah, that's the greatest issue there.
Backlash against him for essentially thirsting over a character based on a 10-year-old girl. And as you might remember from the clips I played in the intro of this video, this
clip with this character art is so crazy. crazy.
Behavior obviously persisted into the later years of Ben's
Epstein
career,
too.
with him ranting about Enid from OKKO's See Mime outfit as recently as 2019. Now, all of this would maybe warrant Ben getting a few callouts on Twitter and a couple people unsubscribing from him. But if this was where his controversial behavior ended, we certainly wouldn't be talking about him here today. However, Ben has never been satisfied with simply admiring underage characters from afar. To the contrary, once he began to improve his skills at art school and his confidence in
as soon as you get good at drawing, it's like, how can I draw kids? Haha. How can I draw kids, guys? I just got good at art. How can I draw children?
his work began to balloon, Ben became a genuine menace.
I wouldn't say balloon. There's some inflation connotation there. Don't want to make false allegations, Jormy.
He began to create and upload his own artistic works depicting some of his favorite cartoon characters. And as you might have imagined, some of these characters were, in fact, underage. Although there are many deplorable artworks in Ben's horrific catalog, I don't think it's necessary to go through his entire career as an NSFW artist.
Okay, so this is the only problem I have with Jormy videos, which I do like his videos, what I've told him. There's a lot of fluff language. There's a lot of, like, language getting between segments, and I feel like he doesn't need that. I feel like a lot of the... Not to say a lot of the video can be cut out or anything. I feel like there's a lot of fluff language in these videos, like, and now we're going to talk about the next thing, which is the craziest thing yet. And if you thought the last thing was crazy, the next thing will be even crazier, because we're about to talk about the next thing. And the next thing is this. And listen, I love the Jormy videos, but I will say some of the fluff language could be trimmed out a little bit, okay? You can cut down the runtime of this video. Probably cut like 2-3 minutes out of the video from just statements like that alone.
Rather, I'll just give you a specific example that many people point to as being...
This talented person will explain what's in the clip and then play the full clip. You're right. This is a valid thing to criticize me on. You're right. You're right. I'm somewhat of a hypocrite. I still recognize the issue. And we are trying to cut that down, okay? In fairness, we are. It's a note that's been made to the Turkey team, okay?
Being particularly disgusting. You see, at one point, Ben decided it would be a good idea to depict a character from the Cartoon Network show We Bare Bears in a very compromising situation. And just for context, the girl's canon age is 10 years old, and she is obviously been depicted in a situation that is anywhere near NSFW, so that's all Ben. I could go on and describe to you all any number of artworks that ruffled people's feathers over the years. People were not happy with what Ben was drawing. As you might have expected, Ben has come up with various excuses over the years for why he believes this type of art is okay. First of all, he emphasizes that even if the change is not visually obvious in his art, whenever he draws a character in a sexual context, they have been quote-unquote aged up to be at least 18 years.
Didn't you do that in your early years? He's finding his footing, give it time. Yeah, true.
Years old. So he's not really depicting a child. He is also a diehard proponent, and it's not hurting anyone argument that many a lolicon enthusiast has espoused in the past. He's even gone so far as to claim people are stupid for caring so much about his cartoon porn, while there are real issues happening elsewhere in the world, like floods in Louisiana. I mean, he's got a point, but as Mommy Jormy always told me when I was a wee lad, 2 wrongs don't make a right. And I don't think too many people would disagree that drawing little girl characters naked is a wrong. At least on some level. But from this point onwards, I will be organizing the rest of the video by separating it into 3 distinct controversies, each one sparked by the visceral reactions prompted by some of Ben's more questionable online activities. So, having explained the broad strokes of Ben's career, as well as laying the groundwork to help you all understand how he drew so much backlash upon himself, it's time to start discussing the concrete dramas he experienced with other creators. And the first one is for something you might not have expected. As you might imagine after my description of his online activities, Ben has been accused of basically everything in the book. People have called him a creep, a lolicon, while an anti-SJW,
Yo,
normal
Turkey Tom, shout out again,
and everything in between. But ironically enough, one of the first things that caused Ben to get into an actual drama with another creator was when he was accused of being something completely different, racist. Which, I have to admit, I did not see coming.
The racism allegations.
Now, if you're familiar with the series of tweets that inspired me to make this video, you may think this is related to the quote tweet that was made claiming that Ben used to make rant videos about hating black people.
There's this one someone made of me years ago that's haunted me ever since. This guy I knew, he made this meme that said, because he used to have these videos that said the problems with, and he made this edit that said the problems with black people, and it blew up. And I think a bunch of people thought it was a real video, actually, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, the problems with the black people. Someone, I think they messaged me a meme recently. Yeah, this one. Let's see here. They DM'd this to me. The problems with Palestine. A real video coming soon, by the way. Coming very soon. We're gonna be outlining all the issues, okay, with Hamas, with the Palestinian leadership. We're coming back, guys. We're coming back. I'm finally entering the world of political commentary to make the decisive rant video about Palestine, which will save Israel from this war, okay? And you will respect my name. Once you see this, you'll respect my name as a serious political commentator. You will. You absolutely will.
The claim was accompanied by 3 of the fakest screenshots I've ever seen, supposedly taken of past videos by Ben, titled Black People, which showed Ben glaring at 2
The Hamas situation is crazy.
Color,
True.
Black People 2, which showed Ben's avatar preparing to beat an unsuspecting man over the head with a baseball bat, and A Change of Heart, which supposedly depicts some serious character development on Ben's part, as he can now be seen hugging 2 people of color with a smile on his face. These images were accompanied by the claim, "These are real, I swear to Christ," which apparently led many people in the replies to actually believe that Ben had produced these videos. Nice one, Smaggle. Now, I don't think I really need to explain why these are so obviously fake, but just for the record, these images
Smaggle's
are
a
the
false
result of
accuser.
people
He needs to be held
editing
accountable.
frames from one of Ben's most popular storytime animation videos.
You see, his roommates just happened to be black.
Make it look like
he didn't hate them because they were black.
But if Ben's racism accusations are so easily debunked, why did I dedicate a section of the video to them? Well, my dear Joe, my 49ers, the true racism allegations made against Ben were actually levied in 2017, following Ben uploading a now disowned video titled "Are Classic Cartoons Racist?" In this video, Ben makes a variety of contentious statements regarding old cartoons that had been coming under fire at the time for containing stereotypical depictions of people of color that many have deemed harmful. Let me play you some clips of Ben's defenses of these cartoons, and we'll see if you're able to pick up on why this video
Get a fade?
exactly
Yeah, I'll be getting
over
that
well.
really soon, bro.
The only way I see these cartoons as being offensive is if you are a privileged and sheltered child.
I was still right in the end. You weren't, though. You were wrong in the end. You falsely accused him. Smaggle, you've probably done worse shit than this on my live streams, okay? You probably said worse shit. So step off Ben the Looney, okay? Keep his name out of your mouth. Israel and Palestine are fighting over the Holy Land, so we should stay out of it and let God sort it out. I think we should drop Ben the Looney there and let him sort it out.
Who had no idea racism existed. Well, despite the censor's attempts to keep these cartoons hidden, some of them are in the public domain and ended up on cheap VHS tapes that you'd find in stores back in the day. I happened to have some of these tapes growing up, so I was more than familiar with these cartoons. Guess what? I didn't think anything of them.
Yeah, as you might expect.
Didn't realize Smaggle was famous. Well, the influence of the Tom Dark streams is unparalleled, okay? The influence of the Tom Dark streams is unparalleled, so obviously it's going to lead to a certain amount of people checking him out, okay? The memes are permeating the culture. The memes are spreading far and wide.
In fact, implying that only privileged and sheltered people would find these depictions offensive, as well as the "I watched it and I'm not racist" argument, were not received very well. Soon enough, Ben found himself in some hot water, as he was declared a racist by fellow content creators. The most significant of these creators who saw fit to call Ben out was a fellow YouTuber who has a long history of accusing people of racism, Soul Brother Number 3, also known as SBN3.
I know this guy for some reason. I don't know exactly why, but I know this Soul Brother Number 3 is a real person. I remember him from some other video I did. I can't remember though.
Or Max, which is how I'll be referring to him from now on. Max was known in the past for posting various different types of videos to YouTube, ranging from comedic skits to animation dubs, and even informational videos about things like how to be a voice
an online voice actor.
However, nowadays he's mostly known as the creator of the wildly successful game Class of 09, a dark comedy visual novel that has attained overwhelmingly positive reviews.
Class of 09. Why do I know what this is? I've never played this game, and yet I feel like I know about it against my will. What is this?
Doing some homemade cake. $5.
What is this?
Fine, okay, $4.
Why is everyone out?
This looks cringe. Jesus. Okay, maybe it's good. I don't know, but not really my thing.
Across the internet and gone absolutely viral on social media for various clips like these.
All I deserve is a deep plunge. You did this, Nicole!
Oh, God. What was that?
that 90s TV show? Did I do that?
Max had not taken
I do
kindly to
that?
Ben's opinions on the matter of classic cartoons, and decided to thus make a
You unironically black-pilled me? Why is that, Max? We gotta be white-pilled, okay? We gotta be white-pilled. There's a lot of dark shit out there that you can't control. There's a lot of bad shit, but nevertheless, don't let that stop you from coming back. Don't let that stop you from coming back, okay?
YouTube video about Ben, accusing him of being a quote-unquote racist pedophile. Now, while this video is unfortunately lost to time, we can still look back on various tweets made by Max and his associates about Ben from this period. These tweets include some absolute gems, such as when Ben feebly resisted the accusations of racism.
Eminem is your favorite. No, Busta Rhymes is.
By mentioning that his favorite hip-hop artist is Busta Rhymes.
This guy's like me.
Who is not white, so I definitely see his point. These accusations mark the first time that a controversy surrounding Ben's name actually managed to spread decently far compared to his channel size. This is partially due to the fact that he was being called out by a creator whose channel was bigger than his. After all, the SBN3 channel now sits at more than 80,000 subscribers, making it far larger than Ben's. Furthermore, the
SBN3, I've never even seen this. I know the name, and I feel like I've seen his videos, but I can't remember something like specifically that he did. His latest video was 5 months ago. It's about class of 09. How to be an online voice actor.
So with the digital age, you talking into a microphone is cheaper than ever, aka
9
being
years
a
ago
voice
he made
actor.
this?
Now we got this thing called the
This video feels ahead of its time
matching
for
the
the
speech
editing
patterns
style.
to cartoon lips on the LCD. Study some screen actors and put the anime away. It'll make your go-to inflections sound real. Practice is only making perfect if you got a foundation to practice on. Knowing and applying all of that makes you a valuable talent to any production. So you got the right idea with a talented brain people would pay for. That talent ain't doing much unless you spend money to make money.
Interesting. Very interesting.
The call-out was for something as heinous as supposedly being a racist and a pedophile, which are things that the internet does not.
We know you
take
enjoy
kindly
boyfriend ASMR. Yeah, I enjoy boyfriend ASMR.
However, at the end of the day, this didn't really end up going anywhere.
That's how I fall
One
asleep
reason
every day.
many people point to as a justification for why Max's call-out didn't quite have the desired effect was that, although Max clearly opposed Ben's stance on NSFW of underage characters and made it a point to call him a creep over it, there was much speculation circling at the time that one of Max's regular collaborators, a user named OMGTSN, was actually a creep himself. However, the accusations against OMGTSN were actually far more severe than anything that had been levied towards Ben, with multiple call-out posts being made accusing him of having an inappropriate relationship with someone who was only 13 years old. Now, I'm not here to speculate on the veracity of these claims. I feel I'm not equipped to do so in the scope of this video, especially given that a lot of these posts have been lost to time. However, what I can say is that being so closely associated with someone who was being accused of these things really hurt Max's case against Ben, at least in the eyes of some internet users. Beyond that, people were starting to realize that Max was just a person who called people racist very easily, especially given his tendency to claim things like that anime is racist for being too westernized and depicting their characters as, in his opinion, too white. When asked if the solution to this problem would be for animators to start drawing animated characters.
It's pretty ironic that you decry anime as racist, but then project your culture's politics onto them. Japanese people see anime characters as Asian. What, do you want them to start being tinted slightly yellow and drawn so that you, a Westerner, can understand Eastern cartoons? Then why were they depicting themselves differently before Tezuka? Don't put that BS, answer the question. Do you want the Japanese to draw characters how you, a Westerner, expect the Japanese to look? Do you want them to tailor to you, a minor fraction of their audience? What makes you think they give two blue turds about some wigga who dubs over their stuff with outdated references and flat one-liners?
To look more stereotypically Asian in order to satisfy him, a white man, Max decided to just delete the entire conversation. To detract from his criticisms even more, part of Max's callouts were inherently flawed,
1984.
such as when he accused Ben of referring to people of color as quote-unquote the blacks in order to make him look insensitive.
The blacks?
Even though this straight up just didn't happen. As a result, Ben actually kind of cooked him in their Twitter exchange, which can't
destroyed.
Suffice it to say, at the end of the day, Ben managed to escape this first controversy nearly unscathed.
How do you know all these people? I've been online and since age 4 and I don't know any of the people you talk about. Well, you probably know a lot of people I don't know about, obviously. Like, I've also been doing YouTube videos for a long time, so it's kind of been like a lot of my priority, I guess. I wouldn't say priority, but I've spent a lot of time looking at internet stuff, you know, so that's probably part of it. But yeah, I mean, I've made a lot of videos about YouTube stuff. I mean, at this point, I've made over, how many videos have I made in total? On Turkey Tom, I've made, let's see here. It doesn't say the amount amount of videos. Hold on. At least 200 videos. Definitely a bunch more that I deleted at some point in time. On the Tom Dark channel, how many have I made here? I've made 742 videos over the past year. So I've made like 1,000 videos at the very least, you know? And most of them have been about like internet culture stuff. So I just remember all of them. You should transition to Twitter. So you should transition to female so Twitter will forgive you. Yeah, great idea.
His reputation was tarnished a bit, to be sure, and some people made videos calling him out, but
the IDF has deployed Half-Life 2 Striders to the Gaza Strip. Please stop this awful war. Much love from Ed Fartovia. Thank you very much, No Name TV.
Who people believed to be more sinister than him had been present. Ben came out appearing just a bit more sympathetic. He also disowned his video and took back his takes, as well as just moved on with his life, hopefully never to be embroiled in drama ever again. Just kidding. From here on out, the controversies only begin to skyrocket in scale, starting the literal very same year. If you've been up to date on YouTube commentary at any point within the last few years, you'll likely have heard of Shadman. Even if you don't know his full story, there's a pretty good chance you recognize his name, simply because of the sheer infamy that he managed to achieve through his online activities within a short period of time. Now, I'm not going to give an explanation of everything that made Shadman so hated. There are plenty of videos that touch on that, including multiple by the Birdman himself. However, as it is important context for the situation at hand, I will relate to you all the lowlights of Shadman's career, just to emphasize the extent to which his degeneracy was allowed to fester. From the very beginning of his online career as an artist, Shadman's work was extremely provocative, and this was done on purpose. He reveled in the negative attention he received for posting explicit lolicon art, and he clearly desired to leverage this negative attention in order to catapult himself into the mainstream, as a sort of misunderstood provocateur. And for a time, this actually worked, with Shadman's name becoming so well known that he even received recognition from figures like everyone's #1 e-girl, Belle Delphine.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I know the internet was a lot edgier back then, so to a certain extent you can forgive some of this behavior, but I'm very perplexed by people who saw him like drawing Daphne Keane, that's her name? The Wolverine actress. I covered that in my video. Drawing her like literally being and like people being cool with that and like defending him and being his friend. I find that super off-putting and perplexing, you know? To a certain extent, I mean, I'm never going to support the lolly shit, but to a certain extent, if people are going to make the argument, at least it's not a real person, you know? I don't think that's right. I don't think that's cool. But if that's the argument they were making, I would see that as more expected, you know? But the argument that was being made by some people is like, it's cool that he drew a real little girl who like potentially saw it being like, that is extremely fucked up. Didn't Shadman draw Keemstar's daughter, or sorry, Keemstar's kids in Lolly, or was that different? He drew her in what was a very suggestive drawing. It wasn't like porn, but yes, he did draw her. And he drew Lieutenant Corbus back in the day as well. So yeah, he's definitely a weirdo. And to my understanding, his like entire friend group has fallen apart. He has no connections in Los Angeles anymore. I think he was like a drug addict for a while, so yeah, it seems like karma kind of got him.
Denounced him for his disgusting behavior. It's worth noting just how influential he once was. But if so many people were supposedly completely fine with Shadman creating art of characters clearly intended to be children, what caused it all to come tumbling down? Well, the first crack started to show in 2016, near the end of the presidential election. Shadman made an agreement with a random internet user that if Donald Trump was elected president, Shad would draw Keemstar's daughter performing inappropriate activities with Trump. Keep in mind, Keemstar's daughter at this point was 7 years old. Now, Shad never ended up going through with this, instead creating a safe for work drawing of the girl, but him drawing anything based on someone that
this is where I think Colossal got him to take it
young
down.
Is disturbing in and of itself. In the coming months, Shad would escalate the situation by creating more and more explicit art based on various real-life children. His drawing Lieutenant Horbitch depicted the then famous 11-year-old.
11 years old, he's drawing her. Like he's drawing an 11-year-old girl. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? This is a real girl. And you know she saw it back in the day too. There's no way she didn't. She was like at the peak of EdgeTube or whatever. And it's just disgusting.
Year-old YouTuber Lieutenant Corbus doing things with a microphone. Furthermore, he created art of Emma Watson as she
Keemstar didn't deserve that. Not only did he not deserve it, his daughter didn't deserve it.
Was when she was only 10, and Millie Bobby Brown as she was when she was only 11. But the straw that broke the camel's back was when Shad created art of the 12-year-old actress Daphne Keane, who played an important role in the movie Logan, being brutally assaulted. Furthermore, evidence was leaked proving that Shadman had based the art directly on the actress, even going so far as to call her a quote-unquote lolly in his Discord server. I'll spare you all the disgusting details of this art, but suffice it to say, at this point, even Shad's most diehard supporters were having a difficult time justifying his actions. But some of the most valiant—
I thought he didn't take it down. Oh yeah, actually I think he didn't take it down. I think I misremembered. Yeah, I don't think he did.
And honorable Shadman glazers were totally undeterred by this. Enter our man, Ben the Looney. In mid-2017, Ben made what is quite possibly the most severe error of his entire online career. He posted a video praising Shadman and platforming his art, titled Shadman, Artist Spotlight. Now keep in mind, most of the things I just discussed occurred in 2016 and 2017. As such, the fact that Ben's video was posted when it was shows that he truly didn't think these actions merited condemnation of Shadman because they had already happened. But let's hear the guy out then.
Oh boy. Might as well get the controversial one out of the way here.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy, might as well get it out of the way.
He's a very well-spoken and laid-back guy who not only defends himself well, but he manages to convince me differently regarding—
Does he defend himself well? If the position is indefensible, are you really defending yourself well just because you're like, nah, I'm going to keep doing it and drawing kids getting fucked? Is that really defending yourself well? Is it?
His work.
I don't think so.
He said some things that make so much sense that I can't even do what he says justice. I'm just gonna show you.
Yeah, we're not gonna listen to that. Overall, Ben plays clips from Shadman's YouTube videos in which he defends his heinous artworks by calling them experimentation, and then basically just goons over Shad's art for a while. Finally, he moves on to rationalizing each of his controversies. For example, he says there's nothing bad about Shadman drawing Keemstar's 7-year-old daughter, and that the haters need to quote-unquote calm their tits. Here's what he had to say about the drawing of Lieutenant Corbus.
When you get down to it, it's just a girl sucking on a microphone. That just happens to look like a phallic symbol.
Like, what the fuck? What is wrong with this guy? It just happens to look like a phallic thing. Obviously, he didn't actually think that.
He then clarifies that, while he himself does not enjoy lolicon, he will tolerate other artists for drawing it. Given that he had just tripped over himself to misconstrue the intention of what is clearly suggestive art based on a real child, I'd say that second part was pretty obvious. He also felt the need to take to the comments section in order to defend the art against people who were understandably upset. One commenter pointed out the fact that Ben had—
Simple. No one's getting hurt from the drawing. Why? It's just a drawing, guys. It's just a drawing.
Actually cropped out the more explicit parts of the drawing, and that he was downplaying the fact that the art was based on a real-life child. Ben then hops into the conversation himself to compare the art to something as innocuous as someone sucking on a hot dog, claiming that you'd have to be really sensitive to care about it.
But obviously, if you drew a child sucking on a hot dog, people would be like, what are you doing? They'd be like, what is wrong with you?
When someone brings up the presence of seminal fluids in the art, which—
How mad did Keem get? I remember him not being happy.
Which obviously indicates suggestive themes, Ben says, "There's a mug in the drawing. I see it to be whipped cream." Right. One thing in particular people noted about this video is that Ben completely skipped over the Daphne Keene controversy, which many saw as Shadman's greatest
It is, and it's— imagine anyone defending Shad over that, you know? You can't if you include that. There's no good argument you can make for like, you should— that's cool. It's fine. He's a good guy. You can't.
Folly, and which had given direct evidence that he was basing his drawings on real-life children, and he was willing to depict abhorrent things happening to them. This single video, which obviously has since been deleted, has had significant and long-lasting effects on Ben's online reputation. In nearly every situation in which he has been brought up in the future, at least for the next few years, there was a high chance that people also brought up Shadman.
Can you shout out my friend Pyrox Lego? Thanks for the 5.
To his own severe detriment, Ben had—
My Jewish friend says you have the Homer Simpson side profile and mouth. Is that true? I used to get the Bart Simpson accusation. It's possible. It's possible.
Managed to forever link his name with Shad's, an undesirable connection to be sure. This drama was a bit different from the Soul Brother number 3 one because, unfortunately for Ben, there was no one to come out of the woodworks and inadvertently paint him in a better light. However, at the end of the day, it was clear to many that Ben was not the biggest villain in this scenario. Of course, platforming Shadman and presenting his degenerate artwork in a misleading way is worthy of condemnation, and it was certainly bad enough to earn Ben a spot as one of the internet's villains of the week. However, most people who cared eventually forgot this ever happened, especially as Shadman faded into irrelevance. And so, for at least a few years, there was relative peace in the world of our pervy purveyor. But what would come next was undoubtedly the biggest drama to ever touch his channel.
Fallen Titans.
Thus far in his online career,
what the fuck is that?
Quite clearly being part of the artistically oriented side of YouTube, Ben had somehow managed to largely steer clear from the so-called art commentary
Not living down
community.
the Springfield allegations? Yeah, true.
This branch of YouTube generally centers around artists showing footage of them drawing while they commentate on various things.
Tom needs to start boxing the people he's calling out for entertainment. I will box the people that I can win against, and I will not box the people who would beat my ass. I think that's a valid position. I'll box the people who I can easily win against with no boxing training, and I won't box the people who are more experienced than me or stronger than me. So that's basically what we're gonna do, okay? That's how we're gonna do it. Winning strategy, it is a winning strategy, because I'll always win. I only take the fights I can win, and I will take steroids.
Usually relating to the perceived misdeeds of their fellow creators, which is why it's sort of surprising that Ben, who has many misdeeds to speak of, managed to go for so long without being called out in one of these videos. One creator who used to be synonymous with the scene as a whole is Creepshow Art, the now notorious dark horse of the art commentary community who has since fallen from grace.
Dark horse, that's a way to put it.
And as I mentioned earlier in this video, it was Ben's degenerate drawings that actually knocked over the first domino in a long and very convoluted line that eventually led to the unearthing of her disturbing behavior, which had been festering in the annals of the internet for years prior.
Thanks, bro.
And the key to understanding the link between little old Ben and this large-scale drama, which has been documented an obscene amount of times in the past 2 years, is another creator who used to be active.
I remember this person, Toby Majestic. I had forgotten her name a few streams ago, and then somebody somebody informed me. She made like the first shot across the bow against Creepshow Art. Oh, her channel's still up. Atozy the Incel. Called him an incel?
In my head, there would be so many other things to do and make money before stooping to this point. But hey, whatever floats people's boat.
But now that iDubbbz is a simp, now he's gonna go in full baby.
Lazy fucking commentary YouTuber who has nothing ever original or new to add to any one of their commentary videos and just kind of piggybacks off what everybody else thinks because they can't have their own original opinion, because that means that they would have to. Like I said before, and I'll reiterate again, he was not personally offended by any of the memes. He didn't really fucking care. His whole fucking.
I don't really get this like format for the visuals. It seems like infinitely more boring than anything else you could do. The only channel that does this well, which is not really in the community or whatever. I like Beige Frequency because when he draws people, he draws them really ugly and fucked up, and the art actually relates to what he's talking about.
It's told so many conflicting versions.
Here he's drawing Hulk Hogan in a really effed up way, and he does this for every video, and I like that as a visual. He also has a lot of clips and other stuff. It's really just used as filler whenever he needs to use it, right? But he's actually drawing something pertinent to it, not just like some random anime character or whatever. I never got why people like that.
Active in the art commentary space, Toby Majestic. Toby Majestic, also known as Just Toby on her YouTube channel, was, as of June of 2020, a rising star in the art commentary community. She had just started to gain a massive amount of traction, largely due to her video, The Faults of...
I mean, listen, I hate to be the guy who's like, I was right the whole time. But I didn't like Creepshow Art back in the day, okay? I didn't like her when she was calling into Augie streams. I thought she was a fucking weirdo. And I was right. Me and Gokunaru were talking about making a video about Creepshow Art, like, I want to say like 6 months before all the shit went down with her. And it never came to fruition. We never ended up doing it. But we were going to do a video about Creepshow Art, and I think Prison Mate Luke, too. Glad you got it fixed, Ginger.
Creepshow Art. This was notably one of the first videos to be outwardly critical of Creepshow Art, who at the time was generally in the good graces of the community, and was obviously an imposing presence boasting more than 500,000 subscribers. In this video, Toby managed to assess Creepshow's problematic behaviors at the time in a way that many saw as level-headed and fair, and this, alongside the fact that most people agreed that Creepshow's recent actions were worthy of criticism,
she looks like a VTuber
caused
from
people
the
to
hub.
rally behind Toby.
What are you talking about? Don't bring that gooner shit in my chat.
Despite her channel being very small. Because of this wave of positive attention, the video was able to accrue an astounding 600,000 views.
Pretty good.
A number that is obviously made much more impressive.
Pretty good considering how big Creepshow was at the time. I don't even know if she had 1 million subs back then.
Relatively low sub count at the time it was uploaded.
She always gave off a weird vibe. I thought her videos had a very like cancel culture vibe where every single video, like I feel like there weren't any goofy videos. Every single video was like, this person's a piece of shit who needs to fucking die. Like that was all the videos. She would call it like, this artist is a tracer. Or, this artist drew minorities the wrong way. And I was just like, a lot of it seems kind of petty. A lot of it seems kind of petty, you know. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal. I think it's okay to make a video where you're like, yeah, it's whatever. They did this thing. It's not great, but it's not the worst thing in the world. If it's okay to make that. But I feel like Creepshow art was never doing that. Every video was like life or death situation, you know?
This positive attention also granted Toby somewhat of a positive reputation within the community, and people began to listen closely to her opinions as a commentary channel. She was even given credit by Creepshow herself, who made a video response to the situation, although many looking back see this as merely an attempt to make her look like she could take criticism well. Creepshow dedicated a large section of her video to complimenting Toby as a creator, and voicing her respect for Toby's bravery in taking her on as such a small channel. Suffice it to say, at this point in time, Toby Majestic found herself in the good graces of the internet, but despite her coming out of the gate swinging, cracks in her level-headed facade actually began to show before much time had passed at all. At some point in mid-2020, Toby uploaded a pretty unhinged video about commentary channels and YouTube drama in general. In this video, she aligned herself with creators who had been receiving the short end of the commentary stick at the time, like Shane Dawson, Gabby Hanna, and PewDiePie, which didn't particularly go over well for her. Toby was also known for getting into Twitter slap fights with random people.
Look, I'm so glad that I watched that Jarvis Johnson video about Shane Dawson, because I was under the impression that what he did wasn't even that bad. Like I was like, oh, he's not a pedo. Like, you know, he just made some edgy jokes, right? He's not that bad. And then I watched that video and I was like, holy shit, this guy is kind of a freak, you know? He didn't groom any kids, but some of the old clips from him were horrible. So yeah, I'm glad I got caught up to the speed on that around the same video. Yeah, he's kind of going on a tangent here. It's still interesting though.
Over various things, many of which were completely and utterly pointless. This directly went against one of her most salient criticisms of Creepshow art, which was that it was immature and pointless for Creepshow to start arguments online with anyone who happened to disagree with her on something. This showed that Toby, despite her ability to—
What did Shane do? Just go watch the Jarvis video. It has like 10 million views.
Notice flaws in other content creators.
He didn't get freaky with his cat.
Was blind to the fact that she herself shared these same shortcomings. But back to the topic at hand. Don't worry, Ben, I haven't forgotten you. One of the things that Toby decided to passionately argue with people about on Twitter was our very own controversial little fella, Ben the Looney. On July 26, 2020, Toby published a tweet directly accusing Ben of being a straight-up pedophile because of some of his artworks that we've already discussed previously.
Make sure to
she
block.
Would later double down on this claim and
she got in trouble later because I think she had some weird art too.
Several videos, such as her video from September of the same year titled "It's Still Wrong If It's Drawn." Now obviously this was a severe claim, and had it come from a stable and credible figure in the community, this situation could have ended very badly for Ben. As it was, he did face a large amount of criticism due to the visibility that Toby drew to his channel. But ultimately, Ben ended up coming out of the situation relatively unscathed, and all he had to do was
wait.
Well, nothing. See, Ben took a bit of a step back from making videos and art during this period, only posting 4 videos over the course of the next few months. And while he took this time away to let the heat die down, Toby and—
Did the Jarvis video have the clip of Shane and his girl having that creepy sex ed discussion with Shane's niece? Yes, that is real, and that was in there.
The art commentary community as a whole began to literally implode in real time. First of all, many people went to bat on—
And these guys are still like, this community still hasn't recovered. What's funny is that D'Angelo Wallace kind of came from that community back in the day, and they got way bigger than any of them. He was just better at YouTube, but there were a lot of guys back then that I remember vaguely that just like fucking imploded. Like Prison Mate Luke, Toby.
Accusing Toby of being a hypocrite for the things she had done in the past.
This shit just ain't it.
Her current statements. For example, Toby was calling Ben a creep for drawing NSFW art of underage characters. However, she herself was responsible for creating NSFW content of both Todoroki from Boku no Hero Academia and Usagi Tsukino from Sailor Moon, both of whom were, at the very oldest, 16 years old. Furthermore, the depiction of Todoroki in particular was something a great deal of people took issue with, as Toby had drawn him obviously having been brutally abused. She even went so far as to caption it, and I quote, "hit him harder." In order to defend herself, Toby claimed these artworks were not meant to be sexually charged, despite the fact that some of the hashtags added to the Todoroki artwork were #hard and #BDSM. Furthermore, even if this wasn't intended to be sexual, many still saw it as a really gross thing to draw. Toby also claimed first that she didn't know the age of the characters,
the music is too
and
good.
then that she had aged the characters up in the drawings so that they were
lo-fi
adults.
investigation
However,
music.
these two claims obviously contradict each other. If you didn't know the character was a minor, how could you possibly know to draw them in a unique way to make them an adult? This is some grade A girl math. No offense to the girl in my audience.
Major offense to the girl.
Now, obviously, none of these
Screw her.
criticisms make it so that Toby isn't allowed to give her opinions on Ben's art, but many people claim that if Ben is a pedophile for his drawings of underage characters, then Toby would, by her own standards, also be a pedophile.
Yeah, I think we can probably skip to the end of this video because we know most of this, but anyway.
Stuck generally to the realm of the imaginary, which, you know, it's still disgusting, but baby steps, I guess. Furthermore, another thing which differentiates him from our infamous game developer is that Ben started uploading videos when he was in high school. With the immense amount of backlash he faced even within the first few years of his—
Hating women isn't valid. I don't hate women. I just have like 10 billion criticisms for them. So I'm going to make a document exposing women, okay? I'm going to make a video, the problems with women, and I'm going to outline all the issues that I have. And you guys are going to see, and there's going to be irrefutable problems with women, okay? There's so many. I want to make a fucking document. Last time I made a document, they went really well. So I think this time it will go even better. And I'm going to make a document about the problems with girls. The problems with the ladies, okay? There's going to be problems.
His channel's existence, which would only increase in later years, it's not hard to see how Ben could have been adversely affected by his interactions on the internet, especially given his relatively young age compared to his contemporaries. Again, I'm not trying to defend Ben's ridiculous statements, horrendous art decisions, or goon-oriented lifestyle, but I want the Jormy 49ers to remember that behind every account is a real person. And my disclaimer is there for a reason.
14 pages!
It's not just to cover my ass. I genuinely don't want harassment to come to any of the subjects of my video.
Okay, that was a pretty good video by Jormy. A trip down memory lane. A trip down memory lane learning all about Ben the Looney. It was interesting to see. Jormy has always made a good video. I think we learned a lot. And curious to see what Ben the Looney does next with his career, okay?